Hello everybody, it is me, jonesrmj here. Apple's October event just concluded about an hour ago, and oh boy, there was quite a bit to discuss, especially about that new MacBook Pro. Let's begin. So first, let's quickly talk about the other smaller things announced at the event. Apple Music got a small update where you can now ask Siri to play a playlist of music based on a specific category. So like if you ask Siri to play nighttime music to relax to, Siri will play a playlist with that type of music. Apple Music now also has this voice plan, which I don't really understand what it necessarily does compared to the regular Apple Music plans. I'm guessing it's for people who only interact with music through Siri, but again, I don't really understand it, so if you guys do, please let me know down in the comments below because I don't really understand it. The HomePod Mini now also comes in a couple of new colors, by the way. The other small thing announced today were the brand new Airpods 3rd generation, which are basically just Airpods Pro minus the active noise cancellation and rubber ear tips. They feature a very similar design to the Airpods Pro, now have support for spatial audio, which actually works very well, at least when I've tried it with the Airpods Pro. They also have slightly improved battery life, each bud now lasts 6 hours, and with the case they have a total playing time of up to 30 hours, and pricing starts at $179, which isn't too bad, considering that you basically get everything the Airpods Pro have minus ANC and the rubber ear tips, but yet you save $70. The regular AirPods are also still around and have seen a price cut to $129, so that's a pretty good deal overall. Alrighty, so now let's talk about the meat and potatoes of the keynote, the M1 Pro chip, M1 Max chip, and the new MacBook Pro. So starting with the new chips, we originally were expecting just one new chip that would build upon the M1 chip to get even more performance, but we actually got two new chips. M1 Pro basically takes the M1 chip, but can add an additional 2 cores to the CPU, giving you 8 performance cores and 2 efficiency cores, versus the standard 4 in the M1. You can also get up to a 16-core GPU for better graphics. If you really need the absolute best graphics on a Mac though, then you'll want to step up to the M1 Max chip, which gives you the same 10-core CPU as M1 Pro, but also lets you get up to 32-core GPU, which is just insane. To put these specs in English though, they are crazy fast computer chips that will have way more performance than the average consumer will possibly need, and they will completely destroy the old Intel Pro Max in both performance and power efficiency. Overall, Apple's transition to silicone has not only been awesome, but also something I feel like they've needed to do for a while since aside from macOS exclusivity, Windows computers simply offer the same or better performance for a much better value. But now with Apple Silicone, I think Macs will definitely be worth the price for the performance you can now get. So now let's talk about the new design for the MacBook Pro, and this is where I was very disappointed. At first glance, the new design does a lot right. Gone is the touch bar, which was honestly a useless gimmick, and now we have full-size function keys, which I definitely prefer. The new MacBook Pro also brings back MagSafe, the HDMI port, and SD card slot, which pros will definitely appreciate. Now when it came to my wishlist for the new MacBook Pro, in addition to these things, the main 3 new features I wanted to see were ProMotion, Face ID, and thinner but symmetrical bezels. And well, Apple did only one of those things. The new screen features the same mini LED display technology that is found in the Pro Display XDR and iPad Pro, and features ProMotion, which is great. The main problem that I have though is the actual design of the computer. From the outside, it looks okay, but it sort of has a less curvy, more boxy look, and I don't really like it as much as the current MacBook Pro design, but it's okay. The main issue I have with the design is when you open up the computer. Not only is there a big notch at the top, but the top corners of the screen are curved while the bottom corners are not, and there is still the same size chin as before. Basically, everything that was asymmetrical with the Google Pixel 3 XL that everybody complained about is now on the new MacBook Pro. Why? Okay, to be fair, there was a leak that the new MacBook Pro would feature a notch, but I honestly didn't believe it because there was also a leak before the redesigned iPad Pro back in 2018 when that came out that it wouldn't have a notch. And well, it didn't because since the iPad has thicker bezels than the iPhone so it can be gripped easier, Apple was able to give us Face ID and keep the bezel symmetrical. So I thought the same would be true about the new MacBook Pro, especially since we now know it doesn't have Face ID, just the front-facing camera. But nope. Even though the new MacBook Pro still doesn't have Face ID, they still gave us a huge notch. I don't understand why because the only thing up there is the camera and privacy light, which doesn't even really need that much space. And better yet, why couldn't Apple just keep a symmetrical bezel all the way around that was still thick enough to accommodate the camera? That would have looked so much better. But instead, we got this asymmetrical mess that honestly leaves me very disappointed with Apple because this doesn't match the symmetrical design philosophy that Apple is known to have. Now before you ask, the iPhone also has a notch. How come that doesn't bother you as much? And the reason why is because the difference there is, besides the notch, the rest of the bezel is symmetrical, while that was very much not the case with the new MacBook Pro. That's also why I thought a lot of Android phones looked terrible with the notch, because they still had that big chin that made it look asymmetrical. Now to be fair, I'll wait to see the new MacBook Pro in person before I 100% commit to what I'm saying, but I'm the kind of person that likes symmetrical things in design, so this really disappointed me. Be sure to let me know what you think of the new design down in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree with my thoughts? I generally would like to hear the other side of the argument because I think it's important to hear both sides. Anyway, so that's everything new at the October Apple event. Be sure to let me know all of your thoughts on the new products down in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.